Ben Rosser here, corn specialist with OMAFRA. Continuing on with our little mini series on managing knolls. So today we're going to take a little visit with Dan Breckon from Woodrill Farms, just outside of Guelph. Dan's going to talk a little bit about how they manage variability with topography and manage issues with knolls with their crop production. So here today with Dan Breckon. Dan, thanks for joining us. Dan's from Woodrill Farms. Just wondered if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, Dan, at Woodrill, and maybe a little bit about Woodrill Farms as well.
I'm a precision agronomist with Woodrill out of Guelph. Woodrill's a full-service crop input supply company and grain elevator, serving the south central part of Ontario. In 2016, we brought a soil scientist on board by the name of Doug Aspinall with the intentions of mapping some soils and kind of getting down to why our soils produce differently in different areas of the field.
We're in one of Woodrill's fields here right now. Can you just tell us a little bit about the field from your operation?
So today we're at a farm just off of Highway 7, just south of Rockwood, Ontario, and it's kind of on the tip of the escarpment. This field would primarily have a Dumfries loam soil type on it. There's some rapidly drained soils on this farm, some well-drained soils, as well as some imperfectly drained soils on this field. So we're looking at soils that were built on the similar kind of calcareous parent material in this case. On the left, we'd probably call that a degraded Dumfries. And then on the right, we actually don't know what this is because we didn't actually get to the parent material, but it is a depositional soil. As you guys can see, we have actually 4 full feet of topsoil. And then on the core on the left here, we actually only have about 3.5 inches of topsoil. And then if we actually take some hydrochloric acid and just drop it on those couple of inches of topsoil, well, it buzzes. You guys see that fizzing there? So that means that it's got a really high pH there, and basically it's parent material to the surface. So we pulled some plants from the soil on the left here, some soybean plants, and here's what they look like, right? So they're about 11 inches tall, or about 10 inches of them are out of the ground. Compared to the soil on the left here are 48 inches of beautiful topsoil, which is just about 100 feet from this soil. We have these big and beautiful plants with beautiful root systems. These plants are actually about 28 inches tall, right? And we can see there's tons of pods on them, and they have really high yield potential, right? They're really good growth.
And you guys have started to do some soil mapping at Woodrill. I'm just curious if you can tell us a little bit about that and how that soil mapping's kind of informed decisions you guys make on the farm.
Yeah, so our goal has always been to get to some sort of management zone that is meaningful and explains a large percentage of the variability that we see in our crop production.
So now that you guys have kind of built that soil layer, you've got that layer that didn't exist before, and it's a little harder to find. How have your management practices changed with that source of information?
So some of the things we've taken advantage of this year, right? Variable rate soybean seeding rate. So our seeding rate on this farm was anywhere from 140,000 seeds per acre to 240,000 seeds per acre. In our areas that are low in the landscape or in perfectly drained soils, we're putting lower rates to kind of minimize that white mold potential. We're still going to have really growthy plants, and they're going to put on lots of pods. So putting on a lower rate isn't going to affect the upside any. And then we just take that seed and we put it on top of the hill or on our rapidly drained soils because they're just not going to do as well there no matter what. But if we have a higher population, that's going to help us canopy quicker, right? And basically what we did is on our imperfectly and our well-drained soils, we applied fungicide because we're going to get a yield response there that's economical. And then on our rapidly drained soils, we didn't apply a fungicide.
So back to your seeding rate decisions, Dan, it's a little bit opposite story what we talk in corn. Usually we're pushing the areas with more moisture and higher yield because we think we can get a higher yield in those spots, and maybe less in the areas where we think yield might be more limiting.
Yeah, so soybeans are a different beast. We all know that. Corn, we kind of plant as many seeds per acre to yield potential or to the water that's there, right? So more water, more seeds per acre. But the reality is with soybeans, more water actually increases growth on the soybean plant so much that we have extremely increased risk of diseases.
What kind of yield difference would you expect soybean yield on top of the knoll versus some of these areas in the bottom that are much lusher looking?
Yeah, so this field right now we're looking at maybe 20 bushels on the top of the knoll here, and we're probably looking at 65 or 75 bushels down low in the really good soils.
Do you have any advice for growers in a similar situation? You've got land with a lot of topography, some eroded knolls, and obviously big differences in the field.
We can think of it back 60, 70 years ago, right? The farmers still knew that the areas that had the most erosion, right, they were the least productive. So what did they do? Well, generally they went out and they spread more manure on those areas. There's certain areas of the field that are high risk of erosion we probably shouldn't work, right? So I'd encourage you guys to try doing some tillage and no tillage within the same field to see if it works for you.